So Michael Pittman has yet another solid performance to kick off week 9. He goes for 6 for 64 and a touchdown, adding to his touchdown total on the season. And looking over the past 3 weeks, we have to be happy with the performances that he's had. 25 targets over the last 3 weeks, at least one touchdown in each of those 3 games, with the 2 touchdown performance just this past Sunday. Everything seems to be trending up in the right direction for Michael Pittman. So it's time to ask the question, what are we doing with him, or what's his value for the rest of the season? At this point, we have to at least consider him as a solid or mid-range like wide receiver 2, just given the opportunity he has within his offense, and also just the general way that that offense is constructed, their tendencies from a passing perspective. And let's look back. I mean, his rookie season coming out of USC, I mean, solid prospect from an athletic profile perspective. What is this, like 6'4", 220 with 4.5 speed? I mean, he checks all of the boxes from a collegiate perspective. And then his rookie season, I mean, notable wide receiver enthusiast and charter. Matt Harmon had him at a 71.6% success rate against man coverage. And so with T.Y. Hilton on the downside of his career, adding a guy like Michael Pittman was the absolute best move like for the Colts. And it seems to be working out so far. I mean, as of right now, I mean, within the Colts offense, he has like the most opportunity. And now that we've seen him start to produce on that opportunity, we've all started to take notice. I mean, from a draft perspective, if you look at his ADP, he was towards the back end or like in the mid to late rounds, like from a draft perspective, because we didn't know what his situation was going to look like. We didn't know if T.Y. Hilton was going to be a larger part of this offense this season or not. We didn't know what Carson Wentz was going to look like, especially coming into the season with 2 busted ankles. But it hasn't mattered. I mean, even the problems with the offensive line hasn't mattered as much, at least compared to what he's done for us from a production standpoint on the field. And so, of course, you all know how I try and look at things from a statistical standpoint. So, I got my visuals. You know how we're going to try and like see what we can expect for Michael Pittman moving forward. And if you look at his opportunity over the course of the season, he's had some ups and downs, but over the last month or so, as that offensive line has started to gel together, Carson Wentz has gone from being one of the highest pressured quarterbacks in the league to one of the lowest pressured quarterbacks in the league. He's down to 26th, 27th in the league in terms of pressure rate taken or pressure rate allowed over the last 4 weeks. We've seen Michael Pittman's opportunities start to stabilize within an offense, sitting at around a 20 to 22% target share within his own offense, which is exactly what we want to see for a, let's say, mid to high end like wide receiver 2, bordering on wide receiver 1 upside. And we've seen that over the past few weeks with the touchdowns. My only concern is his air yard share within his own offense. I mean, last night, even though he wound up getting the touchdown, he only had about an 8-9% share of the air yards from that offense. The deep targets that we typically saw going to him over the past few weeks, they were going to folks like Zach Pascal, Ashton Doolin. Now, that might have just been a function of the fact that they were blowing out the Jets, trying new things, seeing what else they can get out of their receivers. It's something to monitor moving forward, but that volatility is part of why, like, I can't just go ahead and summarily say, yep, Michael Pittman, let's just go ahead and move him into the wide receiver 1 ranks, no doubt about it, or even the high-end wide receiver 2 ranks. Again, solid wide receiver 2, and let's see where the rest of the season takes him. Because if you look at the Colts offense as a whole, their pass rate over expectation, even that fluctuates on a week-to-week basis. It's good to see Carson Wentz really starting to get better under his feet, like performing better as a quarterback, being more efficient as a quarterback, but that offense runs through that running game. We just watched Jonathan Taylor completely run roughshod over the Jets last night, and that's really how they want to center their offense around that running game. And so with that pass rate over expectation really being more of a middling offense from a pass rate perspective, I mean, even before last night, they were towards the back end of the league in pass rate over expectation overall, and also in the red zone. It's more of a week-to-week thing for Michael Pittman than just summarily saying, again, let's move him up into the high-end ranks of the wide receiver 2s, or even like having that discussion, is he really a top 12 like wide receiver? But looking ahead at the schedule, they've got Jacksonville coming up, Buffalo, Tampa Bay, and Houston. At least 3 of those 4 matchups are definite situations where you'd want to start Michael Pittman. Once we get into like the playoffs, he's got Arizona, he's got the Patriots, so somewhat tougher matchups. But either way, given the opportunity within his own offense, given the way that Carson Wentz is playing, given the way that offense is performing as well, Michael Pittman should definitely be a solid wide receiver 2 for you on a week-to-week basis, and we'll continue to ride him out for the rest of the season. Peace.